Hi. This week on the Heroes, Villains, and Sidekicks Show, we'll be having some fun learning about a character that straddles the line between hero and villain. We'll be looking at Felicia Hardy, a.k.a. the Black Cat. And that's what we'll be doing here on the Heroes, Villains, and Sidekicks Show. We'll be learning and talking about the origins and backstories of heroes, villains, and sidekicks throughout the comic book universe and pop culture. Now we're going to look at both, the popular heroes out there and some obscure characters you may have never heard of, but I think you'll dig. The character of Felicia Hardy, a.k.a. the Black Cat, was created for Marvel Comics by the amazing writer Marv Wolfman and the artist Keith Pollard, and first appeared in issue 194 of The Amazing Spider-Man back in 1979. And this was one of those characters that she shows up a lot in Spider-Man stories, and I thought I knew a lot about her, but like a lot of these episodes, I find, I've either forgotten things or there were things that I just didn't know. So this is what I really enjoy doing these casts, is learning more about these characters that I've been reading about for so long. So Marv Wolfman was actually working on Spider-Woman, and he wanted to introduce a female character into the title that could act as sort of a counter to the main character, Spider-Woman. But before he could use her, he moved over to The Amazing Spider-Man, and he took that character with him. So Wolfman used the character of the Black Cat, but he changed her so much that really only her name, Black Cat, and the powers that she had stayed the same. Other than that, he radically changed the characters. Wolfman was always asked, did he base this character on Catwoman? Because they're pretty similar. But he insisted the character was based on an old Tex Avery cartoon, Bad Luck Lucy, that features a cat that jinxes people when she's near. Now, it's a neat idea for a power, for a cat burglar. I mean, they need things to be sort of going just right, so to have bad luck power mixed in there is kind of interesting. But we're going to get to that later. Felicity, like many other characters in the Marvel Universe, was from New York City, Queens to be specific. Her father made a living as a world-renowned cat burglar, like a lot of fathers do, but Felicia thought he was just a traveling salesman. Now, he excelled in his craft, and he instilled in his daughter that she should never settle. She should always be the best. She should strive to be the best she could be at anything she tried. Now, her father, despite his prowess, eventually gets caught and is sent to prison. It's then that she learns exactly what her father did for a living. Now, Felicia grows up, she graduates from high school, and then makes her way to college at Empire State University in New York City, and is enjoying the college life until her college boyfriend, Ryan, attacks her and actually rapes her. Now, feeling anger and hatred towards her attacker, and never wanting to be at another's mercy, she trains herself in several fighting styles and acrobatics, all this with the intent of killing the man who raped her. However, Felicia is denied her revenge when Ryan dies in a drunk driving accident. I mean, no big loss, but Felicia is angry that she could not inflict revenge on her attacker. Angry and needing something in her life to fill the gap, revenge. Think of Inigo Montoya, after he kills the man with 6 fingers. Felicia needs something to do, so she tries to break her father out of prison before he dies. And this is when Felicia puts the Black Cat costume on for the first time. But things do not go well during the prison break, and her father, Walter Hardy, is killed. Now, needing direction and now having all these new skills and a lot of anger, she decides to enter the family business and become a cat burglar. And it's actually during this prison break to free her father that Cat comes up against good old webhead Spider-Man himself, and there's instant chemistry between the two. And Felicia has some fun flirting with Peter, and at the end of their first encounter, she actually raises his mask up over his mouth and lays one on him. So Felicia keeps up her life as a cat burglar, but is also still into Spider-Man. This is really akin to the whole Batman Catwoman thing. Bad person, bad girl drawn to the hero drawn to the woman who has some issues. It's very Batman Catwoman. So Felicia actually wants to earn Spider-Man's trust. She really is starting to fall in love with him. And to show him that she's a good person, she actually steals a pivotal component, this piece of machinery in a plan that the Kingpin is hatching with Dr. Octopus. Now, in the process of stopping this, she is badly injured, and Spidey gets her to the hospital just in time. Now, this brought the two very close together, and they became a couple. And now a quick word from our sponsor. discount comic book service. You can head over to the site, dcbservice.com, and just find incredible deals. Now, about this company, I've been using them for, since 2004, probably, maybe 2005. You can order your books from their website. You can work on a little Excel sheet. That's what I do. And upload it and pay, and then you can choose whether you want to get your books every 2 weeks or once a month. I get mine once a month. They come to your door shipped just perfectly. I've never had a damaged book. Foam, all bagged, everything's great. And here's the thing, everything 40 to 50% off, sometimes 75% off. I'm looking at the website right now. They've got sort of Marvel's Monsters Unleashed #1 in here, 50% off, only $249. What else do we have here? We've got the James Bond, that's the new book, that's 50% off. A lot of the coloring books, 50% off. All DC Marvel and Marvel hardcovers and trade paperbacks, including DC Rebirth collected editions, 50% off. So trades are expensive, all of them 50% off. DC new miniseries 1 and 2s, Vertigo Young Animals, all 50% off. So it's a bundle. So you'd get all the new miniseries from DC 1 and 2s for 50% off. Huge DC deals here. Marvel Now bundle, 50% off. So that'd be all the Marvel Now bundles that week. But you know, this is you can get the huge bundles, or you can just get the individual issues at this sort of a deal. So here's, like, I'm looking at the site, All-Star Batman #6, $4.99, but with DCBS it's $2.99. So again, just incredible savings. Here's Superman 14, #14. Regular price $2.99, DCBS service $149. That's 50% off. So again, these titles are all 40, 50, 60, sometimes 75% off. Just fantastic deals. I've been using them forever. Check them out, Discount Comic Book Service. And also, one more quick thing before we get back to the show. I want to thank everybody over on Facebook. We have just gotten, I've just been amazed. I've been so busy sort of just in my everyday life and then working on the cast and a few other projects at our Facebook page. I have just been blown away by the community we're building over there. We're talking, like, last time I checked, something like 1,400 likes on the page. Just amazed. I'm going to keep trying to post there more and more. And I just wanted to thank everybody. And again, you can even leave a post over there or a comment over there on a hero you'd like to see. So you could do it in either place. So I just want to thank everybody over on the Facebook group and the Facebook page for all the support we're getting. And now this is new territory for Peter. He was with a woman who knows what his life is, who's like him. They wore masks, they had secret identities. I mean, they had a lot in common. So Peter decides to take it up a notch, take it to the next level, and let Felicia into his life. Not his life as Spider-Man, but his normal everyday life as Peter Parker. And I actually have this issue in front of me right now, and it's fairly painful. See, Felicia loves Spider-Man. She doesn't really feel the same way about Peter, about the man. She likes the adventure and the mystery, and you know that he's this hero, but she doesn't really want to know about the other guy, the guy under the mask. And so Peter takes her to his apartment. Now, of course, she's a cat burglar, so she's used to living a certain lifestyle, and she is more than a little appalled at his apartment. Not to mention the fact that to get into his apartment, the skylight actually enters the bathroom. So she can't believe this is happening. She actually thinks it's a joke. And the page where he removes his masks and shows her who he is really just a great piece of storytelling. He takes the mask off, he removes the mask, and in a series of smaller panels, Cat actually recoils, almost in terror, telling him to put the mask back on. Now, it's a great page, and I'll post it to the episodes page because it just looks really cool. Now, Peter's really hurt by this, but he wants to try to make it work. But at this point, you can really tell he has one foot out the door because this was a fairly painful and embarrassing moment for him. Now, at this point, the Black Cat has really no powers to speak of. She's fit and athletic and is an amazing cat burglar. But she feels that without powers, she's actually a liability when she's teaming up with Spider-Man. He's always having to try to protect her. Now, after being turned down by the Avengers, Fantastic Four, and actually Henry Pym in a bid to gain superpowers, she turns to Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. Now, the Kingpin doesn't do anything out of the kindness of his heart. I think we all know that. We'll actually be doing a show on him later in the month. And using the same tech that made some of Spidey's other enemies, Felicia was given a real bummer of a power. It was sort of like a hex power that tipped things, in the bad direction and gave people bad luck and people around her. Now, but here's the thing. The hex power that she has, that sort of bad luck aura, well, it actually rubs off on other people. So when she's hanging out with Spidey, it transfers to him and he starts having all kinds of bad luck. Realizing something is just not right. I mean, Peter usually has some pretty bad luck, but it was getting a little bit ridiculous. So he went and visited Doctor Strange to see if he could figure out, what was up, what was going on. And Strange sees the hex and he removes it from him. And in the process, what actually happens is it alters the source of the hex power, that being Felicia's Black Cat powers. Now, Felicia has a new power set. She pretty much lucks out here, and she likes this. She now has heightened strength, agility, balance, vision, and actually retractable claws. So now she really gets the actual powers she wanted. She is not on par with Spider-Man strength-wise, but she is now an actual super-powered person. But Peter was feeling fairly disillusioned with the relationship, and I mean, he knew she didn't really love him. She loved Spider-Man. I mean, she was starting to warm, but, again, this was really something that was bothering her. Now, things go bad to worse, though, after the breakup, when she learns that Peter and Mary Jane have rekindled their relationship and are now married. Felicia's not pleased about this and harasses the couple for a while. Now, one of the drawbacks of telling someone your secret identity is the fact that they know who you are, where you live, and the people that you love. So she takes advantage of that, and one of the things she actually does is she starts up a relationship with Flash Thompson just to spite Peter. But, people mellow and how these things go, and in the end, Peter and the Black Cat do come up, with an understanding, and they do sort of come together every once in a while, but they work it out like people do. She comes to grips with the fact that she wasn't probably the best partner and not caring for Peter as much as Spider-Man, and things get better between them after a whole lot of drama. But, like I said, they get together from time to time. In one such encounter, actually, Peter loses his powers only to have them returned to him with the help of Kat. I mean, she helps get him his powers back. She's still his friend. They're close. Now, unfortunately, one of the drawbacks when she uses this machine to give Peter his powers back is she actually loses her powers. So she made a huge sacrifice to help Peter. Now, still wanting to do her thing, be a cat burglar and have this sort of power and money and sort of the abilities that she had, she goes to the Tinkerer, which is a character which would be actually a good show in the Marvel U, who sort of tinkers and makes things and whatnot for people. So she goes to her, or him, the Tinkerer, to outfit her with all the accoutrements she needs to mimic her powers. And again, now her and Spidey, they meet up from time to time, and Felicia has now come to grips with how she feels about Parker and Mary Jane, and things are fairly alright with the world. And again, what do we say when things are going alright with the world? The writer needs to add something to mess it up. Enter the superior Spider-Man, Doc Ock. Now, this was an amazing storyline in Spider-Man that lasted quite some time, where Doc Ock actually puts his mind into Peter Parker's body. Because Doc Ock is dying, he's able to put his mind in Peter's body, pushing Peter out for, he thought permanently, but just for a time actually. Now, when Black Cat meets up with this new Spider-Man, things do not go well. Now, Ock has no memory of all the good times the two had together, and he viciously attacks her. Now, confused, Felicia is furious with the man she thinks of as a friend and one-time lover. I mean, he just mercilessly beats her. And she is, of course, because he caught her, is promptly arrested, and her vast collection of money and everything she owns, her apartment, is confiscated, and she's thrown into jail. Now, she's able to get out of jail when Electro breaks her, when he's breaking out, and then she follows along and she uses him to help take back and build a criminal empire. And during this process, she also regains her bad luck powers on top of her athletic and cat burglar skills, so she's powered back up again. But now she's angry and bitter after the incarceration, losing everything, and being beaten by a friend, someone who she thinks was a friend. She doesn't know that this was actually Otto. Now, angry and bitter after incarceration and beating she took from who she thinks of as a friend, the Black Cat is more dangerous than ever as she plans, manipulates, and kills to claw her way to the top to become the undisputed kingpin of crime. Before we finish up, I wanted to let everyone know I'm working on a video that shows how I put a podcast together. Now, it's not, super detailed. It's sort of just me, going through the process of how I research a character, work on the script, how, what programs I use for that. Shows me recording in iTunes, uploading to Libsyn, sort of posting the episode on my site, just all the steps I sort of go through. Now, I'm not exactly sure when this is going to be done, but I'm going to be shooting for the next couple weeks. I might actually putting it up in sort of part 1, part 2, part 3, just so I can sort of get it out a little bit at a time. So when that's up and when it gets a little bit closer, I'll be sure to let you know. Well, I want to thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Heroes, Villains, and Sidekicks Show. Our theme music is by Broke for Free, and you can find links to other music from the show on our website, heroesvillainsandsidekicks.com. There you can listen to the show, but better yet, head over to iTunes and subscribe and leave a review. I know people are listening out there, so if you have a minute, whether you subscribe via iTunes, if you might maybe just listen to it on the actual website, I'd love to see some comments over at iTunes. So if you get a second, head over to iTunes and leave a review. It really would help us out. And if you have any recommendations or questions, contact me or leave a comment on our site. Just head over to the episodes page and leave a comment, under the episode. Now, I've also added a new section to the homepage where you can post a comment to who you'd like to hear me do on the show. So you just fill out a little form and hit submit, and I get an email with your message saying who you'd like to comment and who you'd like to see. Now, that's where actually this Black Cat episode came from. It was an email I got. Unfortunately, I set the form up a little bit wrong, where I put the name and sort of message, and what I meant that to be was the name of the person who put in the comment, so I could actually mention their name on air. So I changed the form around a little bit so that I could, so that now it's a little bit more clear. So you can put the character name in, you can put a little bit of message about the character, and if you want, you can put the your name down, and it doesn't have to be the last name, just your first name or a handle, and I will read it on the air when I talk about the episode. So I want to apologize for not having that form so that it made a little bit more sense, and whoever out there said to look at doing the Black Cat, I want to thank you. And if you shoot me your email through that form or just through the contact page, I'll make sure to mention your name on the show next week. So again, I just want to thank everybody for listening, and we'll be back next week with more. Take care.